Okay.
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders alike. We are the Vacant Lot Beautification Team. Uh, our members are me, Justin Hunter, Diamond Jefferson, Sonia Gonzalez, Jordan Lewis, and Emely Patino. What we have here is a picture of a cleaned up vacant lot located in Staten Island. Next slide. For our table of contents, we will be going over introductions, the objective, our sign analysis, concepts, advantage and disadvantages, sun path, the whole works. Next slide.
This is our introduction, and the vacant lot at Mariners Harbor will be beautified and landscaped with a public space that can be beneficial to the community. The location of the lot is the open space in Staten Island at an intersection at Van Name Avenue and Netherland Avenue. And we think it will be helpful to the community because it will bring unity to the people in the area. Next slide.
Emily?
Yeah. Okay. So for the Marines Harbor, so for many years, the borough of Staten Island has been seen as an afterthought to the vast city that is in New York City, but with it comes its fair share of the communities. Like the Marines Harbor, when it started out, it was just like a home to dry docks and shipping companies that harvested oysters and sea products. Today, the average population is about 14% white, 36% black, 39.4% Hispanic, 79% Asian, and 2.5% of other race civilians. Over 50% of all residents in the Marines Harbor have at least one or more children. And yeah. And as you can see at the bottom, there's like a photo of how the Marines Harbor playground looks. Yeah. Next slide.
These are just images of the lot cleaned up, and the image next to those is a plain top view of the lot. Next slide.
Here we have our zoning. Uh, as we've come to learn, the vacant lot is located in a single family residential area. What that includes is learning information about what requirements and qualifications we need in order to get it certified, as our design concepts require a different permit as opposed to the standard residential permit, because a garden requires a commercial zoning permit and all residences in commercial districts are permitted. Next slide.
This is our program proposal for the vacant lot, a farmer's market / community garden, and a food court. Next slide. Our goal with this project is to incorporate a farmer's market / garden into this lot during the weekdays and have a food court on the weekends. This will be something that is both unique and efficient in providing to the community in a significant way at Mariners Harbor. Next slide.
All right, so here are some advantages and disadvantages of a farmer's market and community garden. So some advantages are that it provides the community with resources that will benefit the residents in the future. Promotes community involvement by helping to build relationships with people in the community, and improves the value of the community by increasing the value of homes, and draws in new families to the neighborhood. However, some disadvantages are that the land itself may have some physical issues such as litter and solid waste. Residents may not buy into the need for those resources and might provide pushback against the proposal. And finally, resources could potentially increase unwanted pests such as rodents, insects, and earthlings to the neighborhood. Next slide. And here is one of our architecture precedent studies. So here we have community garden, called Phoenix Community Garden. This garden was founded in 2007, located on Fulton Street, Brownsville, Brooklyn, and it provides the community with nearly 2,000 pounds of produce, such as beans, corn, collards, cabbage, tomatoes, herbs, etc. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
Go back. There we go. See the screen. There we go. And here's our present study on the Grand Army Plaza Green Market. This farmers market was founded in 1998, located on Prospect West and Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn. It provides the community with fresh produce, cooking demos, seasonal celebrations, and family activities. Next slide. And here's a picture of our sun path. Next slide.
Here we have our early concepts for our design. Here on the left, as you can see, we have a sketch of our proposed vacant lot with the food court in mind. And on the right, we have a marketing garden. What we decided on eventually was to combine these two concepts into one cohesive community center under the guise of a garden. Next slide. Here we have our proposed schedule for said community garden. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it serves as your typical standard community garden, while on Tuesday and Thursdays are specialized community events. These are seasonal, most relatively in the spring, summer, fall times, whereas the winter would be more open, let's just say. And on the weekend, this is where we would incorporate our food court. It would operate Saturday through Sunday for a certain amount of time. And while that is going on, we would have a farmer's market incorporating the produce we would get from our community garden. Next slide. Here we have our bubble diagram of our vacant lot. We took into account the entry paths and the egress of how our locations and spaces work. Here we see the entry leads into the farmer's market, into the seating area, and all around it, on one side is restrooms, flower beds, and on the other side is the vegetation area, as well as flower beds. And in the back, we have our low traffic workers area. Next slide.
We made a floor planner for our vacant lot, like a design on how like everything would look out. So yeah. Now we have budgeting. I went online to an LLC site and it told me the prices or like the estimates of how everything would cost. So we get funding from a formula grant, a project grant, or direct payments with unrestricted use. So everything from the government. And from the community garden, seeds would be like $4,200. Mulch would be $200 to $600. Materials would be $100 to $600. Liability and insurance would be $750 to $2,000, and rent would be $2,000 to $4,000. And then the farmers market, the rent would be $6,000 or more. Employees would get paid $15 per hour or more, and license liability would be $1,000 to $500. Sorry. We have routes from the vacant lot to the Verrazano Bridge. The bus is an hour and 20 minutes, and the car is 22 minutes. And then we have more routes from the vacant lot to Staten Island Ferry. The bike is 28 minutes, and a walk is an hour and 45 minutes. This is for our residents and the people in the community.
In conclusion, we want the lot to make residents and visitors feel welcome in the community, and for residents to be able to come outside and spend less time on their devices and more time interacting with one another. And we feel that the garden/market would be a great asset to all ages in the neighborhood. Next slide. Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns?
I'm sure.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to comment on was when you presented the budget, I really appreciated the granularity that you gave with the budget. But I also wanted to say for this opportunity, you might want to also give, I think that looks fantastic. It really does help understand the different ways that you could get active on the site. One of the things that you might want to think about as you're talking about this is also talking about some of the supports in place, because for something like this that's a community garden, you do give this funding, but you could also maybe be a little more specific about those grants and where those might come from. And that was the one thing I saw where as a client, I'd be thrilled to see you not only telling me how much it's going to cost, but where some of my resources might come from. And it'd be great to have some of those next steps just obvious right here.
Yeah, that's a great comment. I just wanted to follow up because I know even right now, there's an organization called Citizens Committee for New York City, and they have a $10,000 grant. I'm sure they'd be interested in hearing from someone about this project. So I think that's the kind of thing where if you have, specific grants that are open and available, then, a stakeholder would be thrilled to know that and pursue them.